Hey Internet, good morning. Right, bit of a catch up, a couple of things to tell you about. Firstly, I've had contact from Tom at TT Motorcycles with a bit of an update on the how the Z550 is doing. It's coming on. I really appreciate the work that they're doing for me, because they are trying their best to keep a lid on the costs as much as possible, and by me being flexible with them and saying you can have the bike as long as you need it, and what they're trying to do is work it in between other jobs. I mean, Tom says they're really busy at the moment, and that's really good news for them. And he's doing the Z in between everything else. So, rather than pushing big, proper, paid-for jobs to one side to do the Z, he's squeezing it in amongst everything else. So I really appreciate that. But yeah, it's coming on. He said about the problems with the two wiring looms, and not believing that either of them are for the bike, and trying to use the original loom as a pattern. If we were to assume that was working okay, I don't think it was, but he made the comment that it just falls apart in your hands. It's that knackered. So yeah, all good. So that's carrying on, and as long as we know it's progressing, it's really good news. So we'll hopefully get that back some point soon. The other thing, GPZ 600R, starting the refurbishment on that, and this is what this series, if you like, is going to be all about. And we had a look at the tank the other day, or we had a look at the tank in the last video, and after doing a bit of sanding on it, you could see that it got a couple of pinholes in, and one of the comments I had, and great, I really appreciate the comments that we get, suggested soda blasting the tank to make sure there were no other holes, and I think that's a really good idea. So I spent some time looking at companies that could offer a soda blasting service, and then I also spent some time researching the differences between soda blasting and sand blasting. And for those that don't know, soda blasting, it does literally use soda crystals. It's generally less abrasive, less harsh on the material that's being blasted. It can be used on furniture and all sorts of stuff. But what you don't get with soda blasting is, it might do, but a lot of what I read seemed to suggest that if you really wanted to strip back that rust, strip back all the old paint and what have you, sandblasting was the way to go. So I've priced up a soda blasting kit. Obviously we've got the compressor now, and it was working out about £80 ish. Sandblasters.co.uk I think is the website, and they sold this tank looked about the size of a fire extinguisher, really, that you filled up with soda crystals, plugged it into your compressor, and then you could use it. I was thinking it's going to be really messy, so we're going to have to get some sort of tent, if you like. Well, we're thinking we're going to be getting one of those for doing the painting anyway. So I was thinking, well, we just bring that forward a little bit, because I don't want to make the garage into an absolute mess. So we'd have to do something to control the dust and dirt. But then I'm thinking, after reading about the sandblasting, I'm thinking maybe we should go down the sandblasting route. And then I remember when we were doing the Z550 frame with the sandblasting kit that had been loaned to me, and the mess that was quite bad. So then I thought, what about chemical dipping? So I started looking for a company who do that, and found one in Telford, which is not too far from me. And according to the map, this company about 15 miles away. So I gave him a call, and he said, worst case, it's going to be 50 quid. Best case 50 quid, worst case 70 quid, but he'd need to see it to make sure it'd be suitable. So I nipped it down, and he said, yeah, it can do that. So it's going to cost £60. I've left it with him, and he's going to take photos of it through the process, so I can share those with you when I get it back. Hopefully, we'll get it back at the end of this week. Really looking forward to seeing that when it comes back. I'm assuming it will be completely bare metal, and we should be able to see the extent of the corrosion damage to the tank. I mean, they always go on those bottom edges. Well, certainly not always, but that's where they go if they're going to, and we should be able to see what is going to be required then. We'll have to make a decision at that stage as to whether we weld it or have it welded, or I don't know, maybe we could just line it out, chemically line the tank, and then obviously externally fill those little holes and paint it that way. Whatever, I want to avoid it bubbling the paint up like it did with the Z550, which was very, very disappointing. So anyway, we should get that back at the end of the week, and we can have a look then and decide what we're going to do. In the meantime, I bought some paint stripper. Bought a couple of different types off Amazon. An Autotech one, fast acting body shop, and then this other one called Genolite, which is an industrial strength paint stripper. Both suitable for use on plastics, so I thought we'd have a little bit of a go on the fairing and see what's underneath. So let's have a look. Okay, so as I said before, I think whoever's done this has just painted over the original paint and decals. You can still see the outline of the decals. So it's either that the decals have been taken off and then the panel's just not been sanded very well, or he's painted over the lot. So let's just give it a little go with the Genolite first. I don't know which one's going to be the better of the two, but I'm just interested to see what's under there. Is that too much or not enough? I don't know. So as the paint's coming off on this one, it would appear that this is, or certainly was originally, the same colour as the 600R that we're doing. It's the dark blue and the red and yellow stripes that are on it, which I think is the same as we've got now, and then somebody has painted this light blue over it at some point before it got painted black. But yeah, starting to come off now, all good. we've certainly made a start, haven't we? The paint stripper, I've used the like Nitromors before, and I'm sure that says it's safe to use on plastic. I've used it many times when I've been doing the bike restorations in the past, or say restorations, you know, just doing any sort of painting when I've got to take a lot of paint off. And I'm sure it's safe plastic. Anyway, before somebody picks me up on it, I have just noticed on the back of the Autotech one, yeah, that one, and this one was really good. I mean, it was really good. I would say it was actually better than the Genelite one. I mean, they've both had the same sort of immediate, aggressive action. As soon as you put them on, it started bubbling the paint up, and you know, you could really see it getting to work. But this one just kept going a bit longer than that one did. Anyway, I noticed on the back of this one it says for metals and don't use it on plastics. So there's no damage to the plastic at all, but I'm not down to bare plastic. So I'm probably down to either the primer level or certainly through to the original paint. As I say, I mean, I don't know whether the fairings and the mudguard and the side panels are off the same bike. I have no idea. But certainly the main fairing is off or was off a blue 600R like we've got now. Because you can see the dark blue and the red and yellow stripes going around it. So it's nice it'll be going back on a blue one. Both of the side supports for the front screen have snapped off. They were both cracked, and it didn't take much, you know, just moving it around and what have you. They're both broken off, so that's not a big issue. I'll glue them on and then I'll patch up the back with that new mesh that I bought for plastic repairs, so that won't be a problem at all. I'm not going to paint the inside of the fairing. Well, I will, but you know, not to the extent that the outside is done, of course. But the rest of the work I'll do with the sander now. I might get myself a new orbital sander, an air one, to use off the compressor. I'm not too sure yet. The other one's done me fine up until this point. What else? So we've got to find another side panel. We need a left-hand side panel. The one that we've got has got no lugs on the back, so unless I can find some sort of lug repair kit or something. I did have a look for that last week on the internet, and I did find well, it was an old web page, and when I say an old web page, it's probably 3 years or so, and must have been by somebody who had bought one of those plastic printers, you know, the 3D printers, and they'd made some of the replacement lugs. So if I can find somebody like that, I mean, that, as I say, it didn't look all that current, so I don't know whether they would still be selling them now, but if I could find somebody like that and I could buy a couple of the lugs and glue them onto the back and we're away, I'd rather do that than use one off the existing bike. And the other thing, of course, is, well, two other things, is the tailpiece and the belly pan. So we haven't got spares of it. Well, we've got spares of the tail pieces, but as you saw in a couple of videos ago, both broke quite badly. One worse than the other one, with the two locators on the back gone completely. So we might end up having to use the belly pan and that rear tail piece off the blue one. But what I'm going to do next is, I'm not going to worry about that too much. I'm not using any more of the paint stripper on the panels. I'm just going to start sanding them next and just see what the plastic is like when we get it down a bit. And what I might do is, when I'm satisfied, I'll probably do the side panel first because it's the easiest, flattest panel. I'll do that and get it down to when I think it's lovely and smooth, and then I'll bob a couple of coats of primer on it. And just make sure we've got no reaction at all. And if it's super smooth, then that's what I'll be looking to do on the other panels as well, rather than going right down to the black plastic as such. So okay, yeah, that's it for today. I hope you're enjoying the videos. Subscribe if you haven't already, and drop me or give me a thumbs up if you are enjoying the videos. And any comments at all, just drop them in the section below. I'd love to hear what you're thinking. But yeah, it's a bit of a messy job doing the paint stripper, and boy, the panels look terrible now, but you know, you've got to start somewhere. I'm looking forward to getting the tank back at the weekend, so we'll see what that looks like when it comes back, and as I'm sure you'll want to, and we'll see. The next step really with that will be how we're going to repair the holes in the tank. It's like I say, they are pinholes, but reading a lot of the stuff on the internet, it generally suggests if you found one, there's going to be some more. So it might be, I mean, what I used on the Zephyr tank, which had got holes, I used that, I think it was called POR 15, POR 15, something like that. And that was a liquid tank sealer. And that works a treat. You know, it certainly coated the inside of the tank, and when I repainted it, fine. It was you know, fine. So I don't know what people think about the chemical linings. Do they last? You know, is it not worth using them? You know, is it just going to be something you would consider to be temporary? I don't know. Drop me some comments. I'd be really interested to hear what you think about that. And anyway, so we'll make a decision once we've got the tank back. But yeah, that should be really really fun to see that. And then we'll get on with some sanding as well. So I look forward to seeing you next time. All right, thanks very much. Bye.